Can you explain to anyone that hasn't seen Nothing More live what the Scorpion Tail is? Just because I want to give people a visual if they haven't seen the band live, and especially if you're not using it on this next tour, because it is crazy. It looks like a giant bop it, and a lot of people say like, is he really even like playing? Because yeah, like an extreme metal version of a bop it. And a lot of people ask if like, is he really playing an instrument on there? Is he just dancing on this thing? Like, so
Yeah,
can you kind
yeah,
of
yeah.
walk people through it?
Yeah, people. I remember for a little while when it was like first. I don't know. One of the videos kind of like picked up online, and there was a
Yeah.
bunch of arguments in the comments. And I usually don't really get involved or try to defend myself because it looks a little. I'm almost just like let people
Yeah,
figure it out.
you're
But
above it,
with
sure.
this one, it like kind of pissed me off a little bit because I was like, no, like we worked really hard on this stupid thing to like actually be a real MIDI controller. It's not a prop.
Hmm.
It is a MIDI controller. Like our bass player Daniel went through, pulling his hair out for months trying to deal with problems because it was a real instrument
Hmm.
with all these sensors and the MIDI translation through the brain, sending it to the computer. But basically, a lot of people just would talk like they knew what it was and they were totally off. It's an effects controller, really. It's not generating the sound, it's manipulating the sound of the guitars and the
Hmm.
vocals. So the vocal and the guitar and the bass are all, when we hit a switch, they go through a computer, and then I'm controlling that computer with the Scorpion Tail. So it's just like a glorified guitar pedal.
Right.
And so
It's
when they
giant.
hit like a chord, I'll push one of the levers and it'll pitch bend them up like a whammy bar does, or it'll pitch them down when I hit the other lever. And then
Yeah.
when I hit certain buttons, they'll mangle the sound or like repeat it or stutter it or echo it. And so it's just like a glorified effects controller, pretty much.
How tall is that thing?
When it gets up in the air, I don't know when I guess like it's close to around where my head's at, so I'm probably like 15 feet in the air. I don't know,
Do
maybe.
you ever get like scared you're gonna like fall off it when you're playing?
Um, yeah, maybe at the beginning, at first,
Yeah.
it was a little, and it was a lot more rickety. Like
Yeah.
I tell my bass player, I was like, "Is this thing gonna like come unlatched and do this?" And he's like, "It shouldn't." And I was like, "That's reassuring. That's not
Hopefully
what
it
I want to
won't.
hear." Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like a giant OSHA violation, so I could see it being a little intimidating at first.
Oh, it's yeah, it has not passed any regulations.
Oh
Um,
man. Well, I
we've
imagine
been
if you
really
did
good.
fall off, that might be the worst show you've ever played. But do
Yeah,
you
yeah.
have a
I
worst show in
I did have
mind?
it fall
Oh,
on me once.
it fell on you?
Um, yeah, well, it was and this was totally my mistake. Total brain fart because like when I'm in the show, I just go to muscle memory. You're in the moment.
Hmm.
I'm not like thinking super consciously, but I'm just very into what I'm doing. And I remember before the show, Dan was like, "Hey, just a heads up, we don't have the scorpion tail mechanism locked in for today because it had a clearance issue with the ceiling.
Hmm.
The stage was a little bit a lower hanging ceiling, and so I was like, okay, but every time in that moment in the set, I would go grab it like this, and I would lean back and hit the trigger mechanism that would launch me upward.
Oh,
And so
nice.
it wasn't connected. It wasn't like linked to the heavy part. Long story short, I just went and did everything like I always do. It's like it went at one ear and out the other because I was in show mode. And I just went and grabbed it and I leaned back and the whole thing just falls on me. I'm just like this cockroach on his back,
Shit.
stuck. And my bass player's like, "Oh shit!" And he throws his bass around his back. He's trying to, dig me out of the
Yeah.
rubble. And then I just
Oh,
jumped up and started jumping on it, and just made it part of the show. Just out of anger, like a
yeah.
caveman or something. It was fun.
I like the mentality there too. It's like, hey, this venue is a lot smaller, so we've decided to make this dangerous contraption even more dangerous, but not secure. Like that's the only option.